When Christopher Nolan criticized Warner Brothers last week, well, he did more than criticize them. When he attacked them in the press, a lot of us, most of us, were like, shut up, Nolan, we want to watch movies at home. Don't ruin this for us. Some of you are Hollywood anarchists and want to see movie theaters burn. I just want to be protected during a pandemic. And I have to say that now that I've actually seen Tenet, I really see where Nolan's coming from. I think having seen the film, I'm much more sympathetic to him because Tenet is meant to be seen on an IMAX or Dolby screen. And while watching it, I did feel bad. I did feel that I'd missed out on the true experience of the film and that it would have been great. But again, I realized that it was the pandemic's fault. It's just bad timing, Nolan. It sucks for all of us. Now, speaking of how this movie's meant to be watched, it's also, I'm sad to say, meant to be watched with subtitles. BTT community member Madeline recommended that I do that, and I didn't at first. But then the movie, like the first dialogue came on, and I was like, oh, hell no! And I had to pause it, turn on subtitles, and rewind a little bit. You really need the subtitles, not only because of the, so thank you, Madeline, but not only because of the sound mix, but because this is a movie where characters often talk in code and only explain things once. No Hitchcock rule of three here. If you've never heard of Hitchcock's rule of three, it's very good cinematic technique. It's that to really make sure audiences get something, you have to tell it to them 3 times. You can tell it to them verbally or also visually. And a very good example of that is Strangers on a Train. But here, they tell it to you once and with no diagrams or anything. They just tell it to you and that's it. So if you can read it, it's easier to soak it in. So I really think that if you don't turn subtitles on, you will have a very hard time following the film. And I suspect that's why many of you who saw it in theaters, I'm betting without subtitles, did not enjoy it. Now, the film is also really long, 2.5 hours. Wonder Woman 1984 is also 2.5 hours. I felt this more, though. And for the first hour and a half, I thought that while I was enjoying the visuals and the performances quite a bit, I didn't really get the movie. I was like, well, this is a gorgeous film. But once again, I have no idea what Nolan's trying to do here, but oh well. However, in the final hour, and I know when it was because somebody called me. Sorry, Nolan. You know, for Wonder Woman, because of this, for Wonder Woman 1984, I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. But you know, you're watching a movie at home, someone called me, I said, oh, let me pause this movie, it's almost over. And then I was like, I have an hour to go, oh my God. And I was like, I just complained a lot about it on the phone call, and then I turned the rest of the movie on, and what do you know? Everything totally came together, it clicked into place, and I was in awe. It was really good, so don't give up on this film while you're watching it. Watch it till the end. I think you'll have the same experience, especially if you have those subtitles on. It was at that moment that everything clicked, that I decided I desperately need the prequel-sequel that Nolan sets up here. I don't know if we'll ever get that movie, though, not only because of the pandemic, which hurt Tenet financially, which is why other people are arguing that Warner Brothers is going to destroy their franchises, because Tenet is clearly meant to be a franchise, but also because Nolan and Warner Brothers have deeply hurt each other's feelings at this point, and I don't know if they're going to get back together. Like all Nolan movies, the set pieces are ridiculously good and oh so elegant. I mean, he's basically been making Bond movies for a long time now, and again, now that he and Warner Brothers have maybe broken up, maybe now he'll finally make a Bond movie, which he has wanted to do in speaking of timing, the timing has just never worked out. The Opera House scene. Oh my God, when John David Washington slides under to get to the coat check area. I mean, the whole sequence, I was like, this is phenomenal. The airport heist, I laughed out loud several times during that sequence. It was just so funny and so cool. And then the big mission at the end, which I can't discuss because it would involve spoilers, but that to me was fascinating. I loved that. I not only found the last 2 sequences visually compelling, but intellectually stimulating as well. Nolan's like, that's what I was going for, yay! Because they not only had brilliant strategies, but theories at play. And I was like, I get it. It was great. While I wasn't impressed when I first saw John David Washington in Ballers, after Black Klansman, where I loved him, and now this, I'm convinced John David Washington can carry a movie. He's every inch the leading man here, and I appreciated that his casting was totally colorblind and his ethnicity never factored in. Sometimes they'll race bend a character, from the script,
but then they'll make some changes to reflect that. Like take like Bad Boys, right? That of course was written for two white actors, Caucasian actors to play Irish. That's why their names are that they are, and they kind of made a joke about that in the movie. But they would add some elements for Martin Lawrence and Will Smith. But here they never did that, and I think that was really a huge step forward for Hollywood. Now, John David Washington, though, as good as he is, he just can't compete with Robert Pattinson, who has his Lawrence of Arabia role, in a role tailored to tug at your heartstrings, and Pattinson steps up to and meets the challenge. I can totally see why Warner Brothers, after this, has decided to go into the Robert Pattinson business. Oh, it's just incredible. I've like most people, I saw Robert Pattinson differently after Good Time, and I think he has been building an impressive, resume up until this point. But I think, he's been modeling himself after particularly Leonardo DiCaprio, and I feel in this movie, he went full Leonardo DiCaprio. Like, he actually did it. I can't believe it. Himesh Patel also has a few nice moments and fits in beautifully with the Nolan aesthetic. As for Elizabeth Debicki, Nolan is infamous for having little interest in his female characters, which is weird because his wife is his producing partner, but yet still, he almost always shortchanges his female characters. And for the first hour and a half, it seemed like that would be the case here once again. But there's a payoff in the third act that's such a surprise and so beautiful that I was really impressed, and I really ended up liking Elizabeth Debicki and the role. Finally, Kenneth Branagh. He doesn't ruin the movie, but he's such a bland choice with such cliche motivations and cliche villainy. Haven't we moved past that at this point? It was just like, I felt very sloppy. I think another actor could have done more with the role, even as it was written, and been more on the level of Washington and Pattinson. Kenneth Branagh, despite having a lot more experience in both of them, just can't compete. And they don't have a villain that's worthy of them, in my opinion. In Tenet, is Tenet sometimes a bit too smart for its own good? You bet it is. But interestingly, the film is both sometimes unnecessarily complicated. You're like, why, Nolan? Why do you do this to us? But then at other times, it's way too simplistic. At times, it felt a little like a video game. They're like, okay, now go here. All right, now go here. All right, now you got to go do this. And I was like, come on, Nolan, you can do. I think the best video games are more sophisticated than that. But I think that the trick that Nolan is able to pull off in the third act, and the ideas that he's able to introduce so compellingly, make the film, I think, probably my favorite Nolan film outside of The Dark Knight. And I really must tip my hat to him for what he's accomplished. It's like I feel like it's funny, like for Pixar Soul, which is also about to come out, I feel Pixar finally did what they've been trying to do so sloppily and just really like overhandedly, right? I feel Pixar finally did what they always wanted to, and I feel Tenet, Nolan has done what he's always wanted to. And so it's quite the year. I think it's very interesting. So that's my review of Tenet, which will finally be available digitally on PVOD. You can't stream it just yet, but you can purchase it this Tuesday, December 15th. And I have to say, it's a movie you're probably going to want to watch more than once if you have the time, so maybe it is worth that purchase price. Share your thoughts down below, subscribe today, and of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.